This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, thanks for having me here today. My name's Ken Lempit, and I'm President and Chief Business Builder at Austin Lawrence Group. We're an agency that specializes in helping SaaS, software as a service, and professional services companies to grow. We provide consulting services on business model and go-to-market, and as well thought leadership and lead generation content marketing services.
Very exciting. How long have you been doing all that?
Boy, longer than I want to admit to. It's 31 years. Be
Okay,
32
so you're
years
new
in
here.
January. Yeah, the benefit of the experience is knowing, seeing patterns more quickly maybe. And I like to say not making the same mistake even once. So
Well, that's great. Well, we're super excited to have you here. So question number 2 for you. What's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
So leadership to me is about helping others to be successful. And, there's a lot of buzzwords surrounding that, but I just feel like it's my job to kind of be the bulldozer, take away obstacles to success, provide encouragement to people who may not believe in themselves as much as they should, to help them grow to their potential. So the best thing to me about leading people and leadership is, the transformations that you can make happen when you help people exceed their own vision for their accomplishment.
It's really cool when you can actually believe in somebody to such a degree that they are so inspired by your own belief in them, right? To help them to see themselves through your eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And truthfully, we're a service organization, so we're always dealing with clients and at different levels in the organization. And providing that kind of mentoring to executives at the client side is also incredibly rewarding. And I think that's, in our case, one of the reasons why we have these career spanning relationships, decades-long relationships with people. So
that's amazing. Well, then that's interesting because that leads me to my third question, which I really enjoy asking. I often hear from other leaders, business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts about that, having, decades long relationships?
Well, you get to be doing work over decades, and I think you start to learn how to meet people where they are. And that's like a thing that I really try and do. It's like a practice for me. I try to assess as quickly and effectively as possible, where are people themselves with whatever the issue is at hand? So how can I meet them at that point and then help them get to some shared vision? So, empathy is a truly undervalued tool in life and work. But those of us who practice empathy as a ritual, and I really do practice it as a ritual, find that it helps us to bridge those gaps. And it doesn't mean necessarily being stilted or too politically correct. Sometimes it is exactly the opposite, depending on where that person is that you're trying to reach. So people management can be challenging. People management can be rewarding. People management can be, in my business, I'm in a people business. People management is what makes us a very valuable partner. So maybe if you don't like managing people, you shouldn't be a manager. Maybe that's the answer.
That's a good takeaway. So what piece of advice about communication then would you give to other leaders? If you had a group here right now, what would you say?
Well, I think I go back to that, trying to understand where people are. And really digging into what does that mean in the real world for them. So when we talk about interpersonal communication, um, first of all, I think it's listening more than speaking.
Mm-hmm.
That's like sales advice, right? If you're speaking too much, you're not selling enough. The more we can listen to people, the more in a position we are to understand what's important. And when we understand what's important, we can then tailor our responses in ways that get everybody where they want to go. So in business, we're tossed together, and some of those are optional and some of those aren't optional relationships. You know, the ones that are optional or conditional, the listening part is even more important because those people can tune you out. You know, if you're working for someone and they're not a good listener, that's a really uncomfortable work environment. And they're not soliciting what's important to you. So I guess the advice I have is, you know, speak less, listen more. We've heard that before, but solicit. You have to be willing to solicit the feedback you're looking for. So if you're a manager and you find it difficult or you're challenged by managing, maybe the best way to start addressing that is asking really good questions. So if you ask good questions of people who work for you, they'll tell you the truths they may have been reticent to reveal because you're showing that their opinions matter just by asking. So when you know, the servant leadership idea is about not doing command and control, not saying do what I do because I tell you. It's about trying to solicit from people, what is it going to take to get you where you want to go? So all about questioning, and I think being prepared and actively listening. So my best advice.
What other successful business leaders like yourself, Ken, should be on the podcast, right? Where are the other Ken Lempits out there that we should be paying attention to?
Well, there's only one. So I have a few people that I wanted to give maybe a shout out to and suggest to you. So there's a guy who's been a client a long time ago, hasn't been a client for about 12 years. His name is Vitas Kasilius. And Vitas is a multiple time entrepreneur, CEO, founder. And what I really love about this guy is whether he's giving you bad news or good news, it's always done with a heart. So here's a person who, if he's not going to give you the business, like I haven't won a contract with the man in quite some time, but he's always very upfront about what he needed that he couldn't get from whatever solution we might have offered, whether he couldn't afford us or we didn't have the right mix of experience, whatever it is. So Vitas is a great guy. He's the CEO of a firm called ReferWell. A guy who was a leader of a division at Vodafone, now at Oracle. His name is Andrew Morawski. Andrew is a really great communicator, and people love to work for this guy. He just inspires people to do well. And Andrew's a guy that I admire for his, he makes it look easy. You know, here's a guy who makes talk, and I know behind the scene how hard he works at it. But when he gets up and communicates, he makes it look like it just, you know, it's just natural. So that's two I've got. I don't know if you need any more.
That's perfect. I love that. Thank you so much. All right. In less than 1 minute, give me your favorite boss or teacher. Who's really influenced you?
So my favorite boss was very early in my career. It was a woman named Marianne Rappaport, and that was when I was at IBM. And Marianne was one of these people who taught me what it meant to remove obstacles to my success. And she came in after, she was my second manager. My first manager was the exact opposite. He was just incredibly imperious and difficult. And this woman comes in and in a matter of a couple of weeks changes the whole flavor of working and set me off on a really successful career because of her belief in me. And she heard me and made it her business to help me get where I wanted to go. So Marianne Rappaport, if you're out there, you're my favorite boss of all time.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And I think I shared with you, you know, my vision for this question in particular is to really challenge people to think about who's, you know, added value in your world and how are you paying that forward to other people, right? I think that's the real gift. And I think the way you say thank you the best is by sharing it with others, right? And paying it forward. So, Well, Ken, it's been an absolute delight having you on the show. How can people find you if they want to reach out and say hi or introduce themselves or learn more about you?
Sure. On LinkedIn, I'm Ken Lempit, and my company's website is at austinlawrence.com.
Well, that's great. We're very excited to have you here, and hopefully you'll come back and do it again with us. We'll have another 6 questions coming up, so we'll have you back for sure. But in the meantime, this is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.
Thank you.